Hello, my name is Rasool, and I'm going to introduce a book which is recently published and is available on Amazon. The book's title is The Human Self and Allah, and it's written by G.A. Pervez. And I translated this book, so I'm going to briefly introduce it, just to present it in case somebody is interested in finding out what is the relationship between human self and Allah. The book has 26 chapters, and it covers in detail the background to the concept of God. It also touches on some of the prevalent concepts of God in various religions, and then it goes on to explain the concept given in the Quran. Essentially, the concept of God called Allah is based on laws. The Quran draws our attention to the outer world and all the signs dispersed throughout the universe, like stars, sun, moon, earth, all the life which exists on earth, including ourselves. And then it draws our attention to our own inner self and says that just like the laws in the outer world, like cause and effect, like gravity, like other laws of nature, like hydrological cycle, it says that there are laws which are governing our inner self as well. And the basic law of inner self is what we sow, so shall we reap. There is a verse in the Quran, 45th chapter, 22nd verse, which says, Allah created the heaven and the earth as haqq, which is truth, so that each nafs is recompensed for what it does in this life, and nobody is treated unjustly. Now, this is a very important statement of fact. If we look around our life, whatever we do, it has consequences. Human beings have two parts. One is our body, which follows physical laws. For example, if I put my finger into fire, it will burn. Whether I know fire will burn or not, it makes no difference. So ignorance of the law over here does not mean that the law will not work. Law will always work. Similarly, the Quran says that since we have a free will as human beings, and we also can make decisions, and in that decision making our body plays an important role. So whatever decisions we make, it has consequences, and it affects our inner self, i.e. our inner thought process. Each of us possesses a very strong sense of identity which does not change as we live our life. We call it I. As Descartes said that, I think, therefore I am. And this I, this strong sense of identity, makes us what we are. But over and above that, at any point in time, our education, our training, our belief system, our experiences, all put together define us. So whatever is in our consciousness, that is our sense of identity at any point in time during our life. Now the Quran over here comes to our rescue and says that you need a model, because we do not have inner guidance, which is, we can check it. We don't have any inner guidance. For example, if I feel hungry, I can eat anything. Whereas animals are specifically programmed, they have instincts. A goat or a sheep will only eat grass. A lion will eat meat. In our case, we can eat anything. It is our choice which defines us. But the question over here is that how much we are aware of our free will and our freedom to make choices, and also be aware of that whatever choices we make in life, those have consequences. The Quran clearly states that whatever path we take in life, we have a choice to follow one course of action or second course of action, like I'll say course A or course B or course C, but we do not have a choice that once we have committed to course A and we get the results of course B. Now over here, the Quran also goes on to explain that the death, which is universal, no human being can avoid his or her death. And since it is universal, our body will die, but at a self level, which includes our sense of identity and the self which we have created or lived as we have built as we go through our life, is not going to die with our death. That is why Quran says that each self will taste death. Now this is an important statement of fact. And with that, then Quran also explains what is and gives us indications and pointers that what is going to come beyond death, which the basis of that is that we have further evolutionary stages beyond death waiting for us. Going back to the concept of Allah given in the Quran, which is based on his attributes and the values given in the Quran. The permanent values given in the Quran are not going to change. These remain the same for the first man on this earth and the last man on this earth. And the book discusses all these aspects in detail. The various attributes of Allah which are given in the Quran, those serve as a model. Since Allah's self or his being is infinitely developed, so he becomes our model, and we try to reflect or manifest those attributes in our life in this world. All the injustices, conflicts we see in this life are primarily because human beings follow their desires, and our intellect helps us to fulfill those desires. Since we don't have inner guidance, as a result, everyone wants to maximize his own happiness and minimize his own pain. And over here, the Quran says that since you do not have inner guidance, you need an external guidance as a standard. And that is where the need for revelation comes into play. And the Quran explains Allah's model with his attributes in detail. Like he is merciful, he is compassionate, he is powerful, he is wise, he is knowledgeable. All these means that we should reflect these attributes within us using our free will and make a decision. Over here, there is a very important point to which Quran asks us to reflect, that our first birth is against our choice. We were never asked that if I want to come to this life and do I want to have a free will. But having come into this life, I can make a choice to create a self of my own choice. And that is where Iman or conviction in the values of the Quran come into it. If I select Allah as a model and I consider the possibility of another life hereafter, after death, then my outlook in this life will change. And I will start working on righteousness, and which includes helping others and trying to be peaceful and trying to resolve the issues of human life, so that and also invite people to come to this conclusion that the life will not end with death. All the desperation which we see in the world is because most of the people think or believe that the life will end with death. But that does not mean that if hereafter is a fact, it is going to go away. Hereafter is a fact. Allah of the Quran is a fact. Nobody gave life to Allah. Allah is living and He gives life. And that is where Quran presents plenty of evidence for us to reflect. And Quran does not force anyone to come to the message or to this guidance, and leaves it to us make a choice, because we need to reflect and we need to use our intellect and reasoning to come to some conclusion that what exactly we want from our life. And that is a big question, that if we have come to this life, and what sort of a life we want to live here, and what sort of a life we want beyond death. If we think that the life ends with death, that is fine as far as the Quran is concerned. But it says that your life cannot be similar to the one who thinks and acts as if there is a life beyond death. And that improves our life right in this world. So choice is ours if we want to find out the reality before death or we want to find out the reality after death. Thank you very much. I will elaborate on this in an